glorious battle begin. Geared up for victory. LG UltraGear Gaming Monitor. Numerous forces aimed at the Earth. And injustice. Let the glorious battle begin. Geared up for victory. LG UltraGear.
We'll rush into the thing, huh, and get into top tier stuff.
Yeah, I'll rush through the intro. Because...
Go.
No, Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Rival South Asia Championship 2019, where we have the top teams from the South Asian region duking it out to become the best team in the region. Today, we have Pakistan's Northern Spiral Horns versus Sri Lanka's Noob Alliance phase. So, today, I'm Red Bro, and with me today is Bishi, as we're your casters for this game. So without further ado, we're in the Pigs and Bans phase. Bishi, take it away.
What's up, Red Bro? This is going to be a very exciting series because, Noob Alliance phase are 0-1. So this is a must-win game for them if they want the Ocean Clan to get ahead right here. They are on the blue side, that they have won the toss. And we can see already, right, that Darius is getting banned from NSH right there because their top laner literally carried them to victory on that pick right there. So a really smart pick and ban phase coming out from Noob Alliance phase. And it's going to be a Yorick early pickup from the side of Noob Alliance. It's a very interesting pick to see it getting picked blind. There's a lot of counters to Yorick, however. Jax is something that can be played as well. Renekton also. And I know for a fact that NSH Aragon can play these champions. So it looks very interesting to see why there is such a big focus on the Yorick. But man, it's pre-season. Anything and everything can happen, right, Ed, bro? What are your
Right.
thoughts on both the teams and what they are drafting so far? It looks like a lot of engage coming out. They really want to lock horns.
Right, both these teams looking for those really smart engages down in the bot lane or through Rift Herald. Right now, since the last patch, objectives have taken a lot more priority since the last season. So both these teams looking for really strong engage and skirmishing champions. Like you have Sejuani with all that CC and tankiness. Nautilus plays the same role as well. On the other hand, you have Olaf who can just rampage through the enemy team, ignoring all that CC, while you have Leona to lock in the squishy targets and a Tristana to actually pepper in the damage from long range. So a very skirmish heavy comps coming out for both teams, and yeah, we're gonna be expecting a lot more fights in this game.
We just spoke about how the Jax could be a very good counter to the Yorick. They realize that and actually do balance. So that's a smart thing Noob Alliance Phase are doing. The one thing about Noob Alliance Phase, the team, right? They love to team fight. They will always draft compositions that tend to complement each other more than the split push heavy sort of a style, right? I wouldn't be surprised to
Right.
see a very engage heavy mid lane also coming out from Noob Alliance Phase. On the other hand, though, Northern Spiral Horns will play a lot around their top lane, right? They will wait for their top lane pick to happen. To be honest, this guy can play Olaf top too, right? So the fact that the Olaf has been picked first could potentially just be a flex that could later go in the top lane, but we'll have to wait and watch, as the last ban is going to be the Silas. Again, 3 out of 5 bans coming out right against Aragon right there. That is the guy that they want to shut down in the draft phase, but I think he has a lot of champions that he can still play, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he picks out for himself, as Northern Spiral Horns will look to counter their mid lane for last pick, it looks like.
Right, and the last two bans, as you said, both coming from top lanes, and they did take away an engaged mid laner through the Lissandra ban, and they do not want to face off against a Caitlyn with that Tristana because Caitlyn is a very strong laner in this patch, mind you, and with the Leona CC, and with basically Nautilus CC, I'm sorry, she's actually a menace in the bot lane, so good on them for taking it out. And they are going to actually pick up a Gangplank, while Noob Alliance FaZe actually picks up a Zaya.
This is going to be really, really interesting. That pickup right there of that gangplank is not something I was expecting. So the fact that it's being picked is very exciting. I haven't really seen Aragon play a lot of gangplank in the recent past. He is the top laner for Portal Esports, Pakistan's premier best team in the league by far. And now they've sort of split up into different sort of teams. And that's going to
Right.
be the Syndra blind pick coming out. The safe laner in that sense will do well against most matchups in the early game. So that rounds off the composition by Noob Alliance. A lot of team fight heavy tactics, but also the AD carry will be the pivotal motion here because he, along with that Syndra, will be the damage sources. So I really like how it ends up becoming at the end of the day. Now the Tristana could also bamboozle us and go top. So I still feel Northern Spiral Horns might just, yeah, there we go.
Yep, there we go. It you just
So
predicted it before they even picked this
I
dice
tell
up.
you, man, this whole meta is all about counter picking, and AD carry is not going where they're supposed to go. It does look like Aragon is top, but that's going to be a Tristana in the mid
Mid.
lane against a Syndra. Now,
Right.
how do you think that matchup fares? Because I don't feel the Syndra is going to be at a big disadvantage. So the fact that they did flex out this double AD carry composition might not have yielded them the best results. And now that the drafts have been coined from both the teams, Red Bro, what are your thoughts on both the drafts?
I think both teams want to go for those heavy extended fights in terms of skirmishing for Dragon. As I said that, for this patch, objectives have taken way more priority compared to the previous patches. However, coming to the mid lane right now, you can see that in terms of ganking setup, Olaf doesn't have any innate CC from himself other than his slow. And Tristana, all she can do is just jump into the Cinder, which might not be the best idea considering if Syndra is level 6 or not. So I think that's a really safe lane for the Syndra in terms of aggression. So it's gonna it's gonna be interesting to see how these teams actually play around each other. Will they go for that double Rift Herald and try to push down the top lanes, or will Gangplank actually, try to make a play through the side lanes while Noob Alliance phase actually contests for dragons? It's going to be really skirmish heavy, and the teams that actually, come out of the laning phase stronger during the mid game will have the advantage throughout the rest of the game.
Definitely agree. And this is the first time that we will be seeing New Balance in action in this tournament. They could not play the last game because of a forfeit, but I'm looking forward to seeing them play in this particular game and see if they have what it takes to bring Sri Lanka glory and can they win against Northern Spiral Horns, who honestly looked quite good in one of the matches and did not look that good in the other match. So we'll have to wait and see if we're able to get a 2-1 on their side. For me, the player to watch, however, will be the top lane. For me, Aragon on that Northern Spiral Horns team has been the carry for them in their victory. Can he pull out another carry win? Is what we have to see. On the other hand, it's going to be Candy Panda playing in that Yorick in the top lane, and Yorick himself is a very menacing split pusher. And at a certain point, I think once he has his maiden with him, will look to out split push and probably out damage Gangplank at this point. So it really depends a lot on how these junglers end up, focusing the map. And Red Bro, now that we've seen the dragon changes happen,
Right.
how much do you think the third dragon, the one that changes the terrain, makes a difference? And what kind of a dragon would you feel would benefit either of these teams, considering they both really just want to get in your face on team fight?
Right. So considering the dragon changes that came up, every third dragon that spawns will basically change the rift according to their element, right? So four dragons have like four different interactions with the entire rift. And right now, I think that's very important. After you slay the second dragon, the whole map changes. So your playstyle will change depending on that as well. So, like, if Ocean Dragon spawns a lot of bush, you can actually camp in bushes and try to get a pick off of any of the team members. But in terms of this game, I think if you have an Infernal Dragon spawning for the third one, you'll have an Infernal Dragon soul for the team that's, actually kills the fourth dragon. However, specifically for this game, I think an Ocean Dragon would suit better because each of these teams have really strong bruiser compositions in them, in the sense that there's Olaf on one team and there's Yorick on the other. So if any of these teams get an Ocean Dragon Soul, it'll be really, really difficult to kill any of the teams at that point. So yeah, the Ocean Dragon definitely making more of an impact here in this game rather than anything else
Well,
other than that. What are your thoughts
let's
about that?
see. I agree with you completely. I also feel in this particular case, the Mountain Dragon will also be really helpful. If they're able to get the soul of the Mountain Dragon, that's going to be
Right.
a shield that all of them get out of combat. And that extra health just could be enough to help win out these team fights. Now that the Spectre Relay is gone, guys, we are heading into the loading screen. This is the Rivals South Asia Championship powered by LG UltraGear, Act Fibernet, and Zotac. So a big shout out to our sponsors for making this tournament happen, and it's going to be a really really exciting series, Red Bro, because I have a feeling that we are going to see a lot of action, and as casters, that's what we look forward to seeing: exciting games where from level ones to level fives, you see teams going at it again and again, and the jungle influence in the early game will really determine a lot in terms of how each team is able to get an advantage, and that's something I am personally looking forward to seeing. As you see already, everyone with skins in this account, they have been given right tournament accounts for the play for this tournament. I love that everyone has cool skins to play, and that's going to be a Meowric skin in the top lane. But if you had to pick your own favorite skin amongst these, Red Bro, which one would you pick?
Of course, the Miaric skin. Like he spawns
Yeah.
those little cute kittens every single time he uses his abilities, and it's just really fun to see like a serious champion like Yorick relying on little furry kittens to do his bidding. So yeah, I think I'm gonna be looking out for some Miaric action right now.
Yeah, I like it, man. He's gonna throw all of these cute kittens on the face of that Gangplank who is in his special forces skin. So really serious skin coming out from the Gangplank this side. But the KDA Kaiser Prestige Edition, NSH man, he's gonna look to style on these kids with his Kaiser pickup. We'll have to wait and see how that transpires. But I'm excited, like I definitely feel that this is gonna be a very, very close series, and having a victory would mean very, very important in the total standings for each team, because remember guys, these are part of elemental clans. Each victory that they get adds to the total score of their clan, and at the end of the day, the two teams with the highest scores go on to play a best of 5 relay series. So do not forget that every win matters for these guys. And the Sejuani also, I feel like with team fights, right, if the Sejuani can get the right ults onto the Kaisa or onto the Rishana, I feel that could be game changing. I just have to give a little bit advantage to Noob Alliance just because I feel that they have easier to play, team fights with the Nautilus pointing click
Right.
CC, Sejuani ult also not that hard to land if you can chain CC it together,
Right.
and Kaisa will be crucial because if she's able to avoid these sort of damages with these CCs, I feel that's the advantage that the Northern Spiral Hounds need right there. So can't wait for the match to get started, bro. And what
Yeah.
do you think? Do you feel that we will see any level one shenanigans come out from both teams, because they have a Leon and Nautilus, and they might just go right in game one and just like level one start an invade, or do you see that both teams are just gonna play it safe and not try to go for the invade?
I think since this is the first game for Noob Alliance phase, they might look to play it safe. However, I'm putting it all on NSH to actually try and go for something more risky because they have that Leona, they have the follow-up damage coming in as well. So I think NSH might just want to get in and invade while Noob Alliance might be on the defensive side, but we don't know. Since they do have a Nautilus at level 1, that is a very strong champion to have at that stage right now. So really unpredictable to be honest, but I don't think both of these teams would be actually looking to play safe. I think they picked these compositions to fight, and everyone wants to see a fight starting out for the get-go, starting from the first minute, right? So yeah, but
Yeah.
it does look like we will not be seeing an invade because Gangplank does go into the top lane and Yorick also goes out in his lane as well.
Northern Spiralhorns are, however, on the Riverside Brush. Maybe they're anticipating an invade and would want to counter invade right there, because
Right,
I feel with Nautilus Q, it's a lot easier to get a kill than from a Leona Q to just try to come into melee range.
right,
Notice that there is a teleport on the side of Manny, so they want to basically play a little later for the game. They try to farm up, and on the other side, there is a Nautilus with Ignite. So in the 2v2, right, if Nautilus is able to land a hook, maybe if it's onto Leona as well, I feel the early game prowess of the Zaya with the Ignite coupled onto that might be an advantage
right.
situation. So Nubalance might have some priority in that bottom lane that they can look to push towards. And we'll have to wait and see if they play that aggressive that they can. Nubalance is, I think, main players are on their bot lane, they play really, really well, and they're known to be the big carries. The AD carry, especially NA Hava, has known to be the one of the carries that like he's the guy that they look to in terms of doing damage. So I'll have my eyes on him as we wait and see what happens. But it does look like no teams do want to have an invade. Just want to play it safe. And
Right.
the first dragon, I'm not sure if you had a look at what the first dragon's gonna be. Sadly, I haven't either. But I know it's gonna be a mountain dragon. Yeah. So we won't see any extra terrains, Red Bro, on the
Yeah.
mountain, as the mountain has been ruled out to be the terrain change. It'll probably be a cloud, infernal, or an ocean. So one step closer towards the prediction or the choice of dragon that you wanted to have for
Right.
the third game. So that'll be interesting to see as well. And I feel like there's going to be a very quick pause as both the teams want to make sure that the routers are fixed. You don't want lags when you're playing, right, Red Bro?
Right, and basically in every single South Asian game, the pause is basically mandatory because we do play in a lot of adverse conditions in regards to our internet and electricity. But it's just so good to see that despite all these obstacles and hindrances, players still manage to get their respective elos, get Grandmaster, get Challenger even in these regions, and they actually show really good competitive League of Legends throughout the entire South Asian region. And we are actually, spectating one of those examples. Like these are the top teams from their respective countries. So yes, very high quality League of Legends going to happen in this game.
Yes, and the game has resumed at this point, so we will be in game and let's see if something exciting comes out from level 1. Having said that, the Yorick will have some power level 1, but Gangplank with his grasps will look to just bully out the Yorick in fact, so it really depends on how the early game goes in that sense. And the starts are definitely going to be on the bottom side for both the junglers, so we'll look to make their way towards the top, and it's going to be instrumental for Sejuani to make sure that she can get to her level 6 ASAP without having the Olaf to bully in, and that's what Olaf will want to do, right? Like Olaf wins that jungle matchup really hard in the early game, and if
Right.
Sejuani remains unscathed to level 6, I think that's a win right there for Noble Lions.
Right, and in terms of jungle pressure nowadays, since the removal of catch-up XP and the fact that you get less XP if you're in a shared lane, if you as a jungler get behind in comparison to the enemy jungler, it's going to be really difficult for you to get back because you don't have that catch up XP. You can't just AFK gank and wait in 3 minutes for 3 minutes to set up a gank in a bush in some lane because that's going to hurt your solo laner a lot. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how these two junglers actually adjust their pathings, adjust their ganking routes to help out their laners and get themselves ahead.
And it seems that's exactly what happened. Is Olaf has started on the Raptor side. Do know that Raptors do not give you as much EXP as they used to, but Olaf will be going for a complete red clear on this side. So essentially, just trying to get to level 3 as soon as he can before he goes to the bottom side of the map. But that will also give Sejuani some leeway as she also does the same thing, gets the red buff and goes to the Krugs. So that's going to be equal. In the mid lane though, we do see some plays happening.
Okay, look, Tristana tries to go in, get this down promptly, does manage to get the bomb off, which doesn't take up damage. Both laners disengaging really quickly, but then the Nautilus tries to go in for the hook on the Kai'Sa. She is still level 1, flash burned out from Kai'Sa, and then Leona tries to re-engage, but takes a lot of damage promptly as well. That is insanely aggressive play coming from Noob Alliance Phases bot lane right
Brilliant.
there.
We spoke about how the bot lane of New Balance is gonna be the one to watch out for, and they go in ham level 2, blow the flash off NSH Manny, who's gonna have a hard time in this lane because if another hook lands on Nautilus, he's pretty much gonna be dead right there.
Okay, so we have some lag issues coming in, so another pause timer is due. But yeah, I just wanted to take a quick conversation about the new alcoves in the bot and top lanes. So, Bishi, what are your thoughts on that, and how do you think it affects the gameplay in each of these lanes?
I love watching Solo Raten only, and I saw him outplay someone just by using the alcoves. So I do feel that they do not change a lot in terms of how lanes are being played. However, there are certain times when they can be extremely useful to guide people out. So I really like the change, and I feel with the current preseason, right, the list of changes that are done to the elemental drakes as well as to the alcoves and the terrain as such, they will increase more outplay potentials, more ways to maneuver
Right.
at the cost of maybe being a little annoying, but I still really like them. I haven't personally, I've played around 20 games on the preseason so far, haven't
Right.
really used them much, but I've seen that streamers and some other people have made good use of them, especially if it's to run away from certain people. So overall, it's a decent change that does not really affect the game state or the laning as much as we would think it to be. And as we have a pause, I just want to point out, like in terms of CS, you can see that Aragon has a lot of minions on his side. So even though he's 7-on-7, there will be a lot of minions that he will effectively get on his side. So that's going decently well for him. And in terms of the clears as well, Olaf has a much faster clear, gets 3 camps instantly, and then just goes back and gets his items. However, Sejuani chooses to go to red, go back to her Karags, and then go to the blue directly, which is sort of a slow clear, which might end up affecting her in the longer run. So, just something I wanted to
Right.
point out as the game does continue.
Might be so that she probably wanted to get the Raptors and then probably look to make a play mid, but since that didn't work out and both players did go at it and then decided to disengage, I think she wanted to get the blue buff really quickly because she knew that Olaf had started off. But then in the mid lane, Ignite goes out from Tristana. The flash is also burned by Anubis. Nothing doing right there, even though that was really dangerous coming out from the
Yeah,
Tristana.
that was a very nicely timed flash by Syndra right there. Was going to instantly dive one more auto and hit, but manages to also blow flash for flash with an ignite advantage. So at the end of the day, I think it's still not that bad for any Kratos there, because if he can just go back and get his items, he will have an ignite advantage in that lane. But Tristana, Noob is playing aggressively, playing what the Tristana should be played. When you click a Tristana mid, you basically look to make all sorts of trades happen, and that's exactly what Anubis is doing right now. Oh, that's going to be a nice W from the Yorick in the top lane.
But
But
doesn't have enough mana to
mana.
actually follow it up. The cute kitties, all they did was just trap in the gangplank, but no more cute kitties spawning because of the lack of mana.
Yeah, it finally pops the second corrupting potion to get some mana back in the lane, but it's gonna be Aragon who's gonna be happy because the wave is frozen on his side of the map. So he's just gonna be like chilling, getting his stacks of his gold and trying to farm out, because Gangplank, the biggest advantage of a Gangplank, right? He doesn't have to be in your lane to make an impact. He can just ulti anywhere on the map if he feels the fight is happening, and that's an advantage that he has over the Yorick, who will mostly look to fight in that 1v1. So we'll have to
Right.
wait and see how Northern Spirons come back from this game a little bit, because I feel bot lane, the flash needs to be taken advantage of by the Sejuani, but it doesn't look like it is, and Syndra might be
But
in
then
trouble right
Hoka
there.
coming in on Kratos. Kratos doesn't have his flash.
He
Is it
misses!
curtains for that? Oh my goodness, the bomb takes out the first blood, going out to Anubis and Olaf, making a really good impact early on. And that is basically how the pathing actually ties in to ganking in this meta right now. If you do your pathing right, you will have those opportunities to push in to the laners and then get a ganking opportunity out. But then we do see a
In the
slot
top
coming
lane,
in
though,
the
Aragon
top
might
lane.
just die, survives, uses his orange at the last moment to survive. But look at the damage from all of the ghosts and the ghouls from Yorick. And that's going to be a good first blood coming out right there for Northern Spirals. Will give them the momentum advantage that they need. And I just feel like Syndra missed her Q. If Mr. E, if she landed her stun on either one of her opponents, she would have been able to survive that. But sadly enough, was not able to do so. And Yorick also just pushing the top laner out, might be in trouble right now, as both Olaf and
But the
Hoka
cute
look to gank.
kitties do save him from
That's
the rampaging berserker.
Dude, it looks like a pool. If you look at it clearly, it looks like a small kiddie pool right there.
Yeah.
Uses that to survive. And that's actually well played by Candy Panda right there to survive that. So we'll give some vision of the jungler, and Sejuani just looking to farm as much as she can to get to her level 5. We're still behind against the Olaf, mind you. So that's
Yeah.
still not good for her at this point. And a small advantage, but a very good one coming out from Northern Spiral Horns, because the Tristana has been activated, and if she can start roaming in different sides of the map, that's going to be really difficult for No Balance to deal with. And I still feel, even with the flash loss in the top lane, Manny is doing really good job in just farming Red Bro. It looks
Yeah.
like he's just like a few CS behind at this point, and considering he lost his flash and is building tier against a BF sword, that's honestly not that bad.
Yeah,
But-
but in terms of CS, 7 CS lead behind Azaya, who was aggressive in the onset of the game, is not that bad. He is doing pretty well compared to what happened in the early game. Meanwhile, right now, Gangplank is pushing up against this Yorick, has a lot of lane priority, making it kind of difficult for him to actually, get some CS. But
I'm
then,
not sure what
you
Candy
see
Panda
a
is
Can-
doing. He's
you see
leaving
an
all
all-in
of
coming
his
in from
CS
Candy
behind to get
Panda.
that solo kill against Aragon. And Aragon is like, you know what, I'm just going to run away. One more E, it's a beautiful flash and a grass proc to save him right there. But when all was said and done, it's actually a flash to flash and an ult for ult trade. Red
Really
Blue, but
strong
that's
trade.
close as well.
Really strong trade coming in from both top laners, going in for blood, Candy Panda. but does manage to actually escape with his life intact because that Gangplank ulti was actually really well placed and it did a lot of damage. He was in his own kiddie pool and he was soaking up the damage from the Gangplank, so in essence he was basically signing his own death warrant, but it turned out alright for the
Yeah.
Kitty Master.
The advantage that Yorick has, however, is a lot of innate healing. So you will see that once he starts farming more minions, he will have an advantage in terms of HP. But right there, you can see already in the bot lane, Leona getting herself a bad trade. And that could be first dragon going down in favor of Northern Spiral Horns, or are they going to do the Mountain Rake? Or are they going to leave it to something we'll have to see? Or they don't do it, just clear the wave.
They're just gonna clear out the vision and just back off. Meanwhile, Sejuani still level 5, while the Olaf is, I think, way closer. Actually, Olaf is level 6. Like, that's how, actually, like, the pathing that I mentioned actually comes into play again. Like, Olaf, when he was doing the Krugs, while Sejuani was doing the Krugs, Olaf was actually doing his Rubber Bandit Krugs that spawned after he did it. But we do see again coming out from Garrix D, forces the flash away for Anubis.
If Sejuani had her level 6, right, but we were just talking about this, that would have been an instant kill right there because Anubis had to blow his flash right there, and Sejuani definitely missed out on a great opportunity to have a kill right there. But having said that, Northern Spiral Horns do have the advantage with the 7
Now Wojo going in for Frankenstein. That is a lot of damage coming out from Hawa. Hawa does manage to get it out. Nautilus level 6 now. Mane might be in trouble.
Beautiful ultimate right there.
But he manages to escape with his life, but now Hawa is actually not done. The Nautilus flash cues a minion. Olaf just waiting in the bush, recalling away. That could have been really ugly for Mane right there if the minion didn't save his life. So
Manny just both ends up blowing his flash along with the flat, and that's again Nubalance's faces superior bot lane right now, showing a huge right there, and now the
they're
is
even
completely
taking away
even.
the dragon.
And dragon as well goes in the favor of Nubalance. So suddenly that 1k gold deficit that we're seeing in the last 1 minute is completely negated by a really good play from Nubalance phase in the bot lane.
Right, and as I was actually saying, like when Olaf was taking his Krug, Sejuani was actually taking the level 1 Krug. So Olaf had the Rubber Bandit Krug camp, which gave him way more XP, allowing him to actually, like propel himself to level 6 way before Sejuani did. However, that advantage he could only use in the mid lane before getting the advantage. Meanwhile, Nautilus still trying to play aggressive, and the minion still being a nuisance for his hooks.
Yeah. The Xayah has not backed yet. She is sitting on 1700 gold in her kitty. At this point, she needs to go back and then they should look to have another fight, because right now it's not a big gold deficit on the side, because even though there's a 700 gold lead from the side of the Xayah, she has 1700 gold in the pocket that she's not utilizing yet. So I believe they need to go back and just try to complete her item. Might just be looking to finish it off, but Olaf is there.
Alright, Mojo does go in. We do see a 3v3 coming in from
Sejuani
here.
comes as well.
Ultimate goes out from Olaf, but it is too much damage coming out from Xayah. The Sejuani
nice stun though.
right there, right now. Xayah goes in with the ultimate. That is a lot of damage being pulled out of the Leona.
He
Probably
lands
gets
the
taken
Sejuani
out.
proc. Can he tank it out? No, he doesn't, and that's gonna be a 2 for 1 at the end of the day. But in the mid lane, Red Bro, we did not see that fight, but Anubis was able to solo Syndra right there and gets a kill for himself along with a couple of platings. So, kills being traded back and forth right there from each team. And that's not looking bad at all for Northern Spiral, because they're able to get a plating out of it as well.
Right, both teams looking to actually do a cost-benefit analysis and tries to go in for a bot lane camp fiesta right there. 3v3 going out. Olaf way less tanky to actually deal with the damage coming out from the Xayah. And interestingly enough, Sejuani has 13 more CS compared to Olaf at this point.
She's able to finally catch up a little bit in terms of that Candy Panda in the top lane, Red Bro. Is this another fight we might see happening?
Right, Olaf going in with the Q does not get it out. The barrels out of range away from the Yorick. Nothing doing in the top lane right there. Olaf might be looking to actually secure a Rift Herald, but they do not have vision over the Sejuani, so I think they might not even risk it at all.
Yeah, Sejuani makes her first ultimate count at this point though, so we have to give her credit for that. Goes to the bot lane, knows the lane that is ahead is the one that we should keep forcing, and gets a nice ultimate off, and they're able to get a couple of kills for themselves. And it's gonna be a little bit difficult with Northern Spiral Horns at this point, because there's an Essence Reaver Xayah right there.
But Candy Panda going all in on Aragorn. Does this mean curtains for Aragorn? Can he take it out? Yes, he does.
Both of them have flashes.
Candy Panda gets the kill onto the Gangplank. But meanwhile, in the Rift Herald side, we do see a duking out of the junglers coming in, but Candy Panda's right there with the support.
Oh,
He gets another kill on the Olaf, and this is gonna
MVP.
send this Yorick steamrolling through the top lane.
MVP right there, Candy Panda and his little kiddie pool of kittens, because that helps him get not only the top lane but also the jungler, gets himself a couple of laning.
But
and
now
this
Tristana
guy's
looking
online.
to get one back for NSH. The tankiness from Sejuani actually proving to be way too much. Kratos just get off a stun. The ultimate is not enough to actually save the Sejuani, and Tristana promptly jumps away to safety. Yep, in the meanwhile, in the bot lane, NA Mojo going ham on the Kai'Sa, manages to save herself with her dear life intact, but Hala still on the prowl, wanting to get that kill on the Leona and the Kai'Sa.
These spices don't stop, Red Bro. From the mid side, we have 2 kills on the side of Nubalance, and on the top side, and on the mid side, Anubis makes some plays, gets a 1 for 0 on the bot lane as well. These teams are just looking for blood at this point, but at the end of the day, I still feel it's Nubalance phase who are getting on top of the game. So we'll have to wait and see how they're able to transition that, because now with no teleport on the bot side, there's a lot of platings that can be taken, and that will further extend Zaya's goal lead, who's already 1200 gold ahead of her opponent Kai'Sa, and that's going to be the big advantage that Nubalance plays will want to play out. But Red Bro, we've seen an amazing series so far, kills going back and forth across all different lanes.
Right. We did say at the onset of the game that this will be a very skirmish-heavy match because both teams were looking to duke it out in every single corner of the map. Like, their picks just said it all. They were out for blood in every single corner of the map, and it shows. Every single lane simultaneously just had a fight. Like in mid lane, you had a fight first in top lane that trickled down to the mid lane. Then the bot lane just went all in. NA Hawa actually controlling that bot lane really well with that Zaya against the Kai'Sa as well. And the aggression coming in from her support Mojo. That is a really good synergy that they've been showing right there. But I have to give props to the Sejuani because she did catch up pretty well in comparison to the Olaf. Hasn't finished the jungle item yet, opting to go for a Tabby before finishing that jungle item. However, I think I think the XP and gold is really even right now in comparison to the beginning of the game where the Olaf actually, reached level 6 before her. But at this point, both junglers are neck and neck. However, I want to know your thoughts on Candy Panda because that guy is just steamrolling right now.
Candy Panda is on a roll, and I feel that is not something we were expecting to see in this matchup. Yes, Candy Panda is a great top laner, but Aragon was supposed to be the carry for Northern Spiral Horns. And the fact that he is 0-1 in this game with just one plating remaining and gets solo killed by the Yorick is not boding well for him. I'm not sure how good this Gangplank pick ends up being for the guy, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. And there's going to be another dragon spawning in 1 minute, so that's going to be Q for Nubalan's phase to make things happen. But the shining star, let's talk about a bit more about what's going well for Northern Spiral Hall. It's going to be the mid laner Anubis doing really well, has himself 3 kills, a finished Tomb Raider, double Doran's Blade. This guy, if he enters team fights, can look to melt some of these carries of Nobuland's face, and it's going to be up to him to be the carry that they need to be able to win out these team fights. Because if Hawa just keeps getting unchecked and keeps winning with the help of Mojo, then it's not going to look good for NSH right there. So I'm gonna wait and watch to see what Anubis can pull off in these team fights, and if they make a dragon fight happen, then that's gonna be cue for them to completely take over the game. But it's looking difficult right now. Let's be honest. For Nubalance, they definitely have an advantage in the game.
Right. But I think NSH and Anubis is pretty much their only hope of, trying to. They might try to anchor through mid lane and try to claw something out of that. But as you said, that the Yorick is rolling and so is Zaya. So that's like basically the lanes that are closest to the objectives that can immediately help you out if you have a skirmish near them. So yeah, I think they might be able. So yeah, in terms of that, Nubaline's phase are really good. Are really in a good position to actually contest those objectives in comparison to Northern Spiral Horns. So I think we are ready to resume after some lag issues affecting the players. So yeah, we are going in for an unpause.
It's gonna be great. Let's see what happens. I'm waiting to see how many plates Nubalance face can get. It's gonna be at least 2 from the looks of it. And that's going to be a lot of gold being poured into the Zaya, who will herself now have a 1400 gold lead in that bot lane matchup. nearly all of the gold lead that New Balance Phase has is in that Zaya right there. And I'm gonna wait and watch and see how they make these three players happen for themselves. And should look to buy again. She has a lot of gold in her pocket, 1300 gold. Could be another BF coming from Zaya.
Right, like I think in terms of right now, I think the gold discrepancy that has come out, it's around 1.3k right now.
Yes, it's around 1,300 gold, and primarily a lot of that is coming on the side of the Zaya. In the top side, however, Yorick is also happy camper. It's going to be a flash in the bot, and it happened so fast, right, bro? But the
Right.
Q never landed anyways, but still, blows the flash, I'd call that hashtag worth.
A lot of really impulsive flashes coming out from Mojo here, but it is warranted because they are in this pole position in the bot lane. They can look to contest those fights on their own will, so yeah, why not go for it?
Yeah, and that's going to be a dragon right there coming out. So 5% missing health regeneration, health and mana coming on the side of New Balances, and that's going to be really good for them because they got the mountain and now they're able to also get the dragon. So really good for them.
It'll be interesting to see which dragon actually affects the rift now.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking
It's
at.
the Inferno!
Let's destroy terrains, my friends, as Inferno is what to spawn in the top lane. However, it's gonna be another bad trade coming out right there for Aragon. He's having a very difficult time in that lane.
Right, Yorick still laying down the pain train onto the gangplank, but in terms of objective control, I think Northern Alliance have got their numbers locked in. They want to get that bot lane turret. They want to pressurize that side of the map so much that it draws in Prio so they can probably sneak in a Rift Herald because they have that power. But Mojo goes in with the ultimate on the Kai'Sa. Does this mean another kill on Damane?
Beautiful
No,
kill
but
right
that was
there.
a really good ultimate from Leona. Frankenstein saves his AD carry, but that E does miss onto Leona, and the ultimate not doing enough damage to kill him, but GarXD does take out that kill. Meanwhile, Tristana getting locked down by the Nautilus does a lot of damage onto Hawa,
This
but
is not
still
going to
gets
go to
taken
Tristana.
down by...
There's a lot of shutdown on her, and that goes onto the Syndra for people, and Hawa will die. Survives to the end by a very clutch heal. And that's going to be a 2-0 in favor of New Balance Phase. They are in complete control of the game, right, bro? It looks like all things are just working out perfectly for them in this game. And the terrain helps so much, right? They were able to maneuver across from mid to jungle just because there was less walls for them to go over. And that's exactly the advantage that preseason has when you have certain changes in the map that people are not used to expecting. When teams can come faster than you'd want them to come. And at this point, it's going to be the Rift Herald take also coming, which will mean another mid lane tower looking to go really fast. And that could mean all the outer lane turrets will go down for Northern Spiral Horns, and that will just extend the goal. New Balance Phase have come to play and have come to win in this particular game as they look to get themselves a 3,000 goal lead at just 16 minutes into the game, right, bro?
Apologies, I had some microphone issues right there, so I couldn't actually speak. But we are looking at a very exciting game of League of Legends. 11 kills already at 16 minutes, but the goal lead from NS and Noob Alliance actually still being propagated by their really good macro play.
Exactly, and that's just something that I feel that they're in a very comfortable spot. The fact that Syndra is the one who gets a shutdown means that she is able to get her items as well. Now she has almost going to complete her looted deck. She also went for a Tabai just to survive against the
Olaf,
Tristana.
the Tristana, and the Kai'Sa, and the Gangplank.
Slightly surprising, but I guess it sort of makes sense considering how AD focused the composition is for Northern Spiral Horns, and Sejuani is going to have a field day, you know, just by itemizing armor against that.
Right. And right now, Hawa looking to do a lot of damage onto Anubis. Right now, this Xayah is actually very scary to go up against. And Olaf, with that lead that he got, he is not being able to really do anything against this CC heavy and, you know, ham team that Noob Alliance is actually putting out on the Rift.
Yeah, and it just looks at this point that not going to be easy for Northern Spellhounds to come back, because I don't see them winning team fights at all when you have a point and click stun on the Nautilus and there's so much damage on the Xayah, this burst from the Syndra and a Yorick who's in the mid lane, not splitting, I feel, but that I think at this point they don't really care. They're like, you know what, we have five, the strongest five. Let's just go
Yeah,
get
we're just gonna ARAM like NA, take the
and
Rift
a
Herald with
ARAM.
us.
Some NARAM happening right here in South Asia, boys. But with their headed in the pocket, maybe it's not the worst things to do, as they will look to get the mid lane tower. Inner also is very low, around half health, and I think that's job done. Probably going to go back to their split push at this point.
They geared up for an exciting NA ARAM style, NA style ARAM push, but then the Rift Herald just got taken down because I do want to remind you here that the Rift Herald does take more damage with every single headbutt on the turret rather compared to the last patch. So yeah, you essentially at minimum you get like one headbutt realistically unless you can protect the Rift Herald really well. But now Mane looking to try and
That's a
assassinate the
brilliant
Nautilus, but that ultimate goes down, takes him out for a CC. The Nautilus still managing to actually kill the Kai'Sa, but here come Noob Alliance. Hoka in big trouble and just get promptly taken down. Leona barely escaping by the skin of her teeth right there. And this is a really easy mid lane turret for Noob Alliance right now. Meanwhile, the Yorick is still keeping up that pressure
Splitting
up
in the
top.
top. That fight was initiated by Northern Spiral Horns, but it worked out so worse for them because they were not able to get the Saya, and the Nautilus was able to survive as well, and they were able to get 3 kills back. And that is just going from bad to worse for Northern Spiral Horns because now the mid lane tower goes down as well. The Infernal Drake goes down. No, Nubalan's face is one dragon away from the soul of the Infernal, which is a lot of damage on their side. So I do not think Nubalan's face is gonna lose from this point onwards, right, bro? But we'll have to wait and see because this is looking closer and closer to being a stomp as the game progresses.
Right, in terms of even decision making, Northern Spirehorns are so behind that they cannot even engage a fight, even though I'm not sure if that was a really good engage on the on the Kai'Sa's part, because she did go into assassinate a Nautilus, and that could mean certain death for you if the Nautilus does manage to get out that point and click ultimate that is so devastating in terms of CC to a squishy champion like Kai'Sa, especially after she's used her ultimate. So maybe not the best of engages, but it does foreshadow the fact that even if they get off a perfect engage, they might not be able to win a 5v5 or a 4v4.
Yeah, that 5k goal deficit at 20 minutes and the ability for Xayah to be able to survive the Leona ult through her own ultimate really puts a lot of difficulty right there for Northern Spiral Horns because they do not have ways to win this match anymore. They're losing the split push, so they've sent the Tristana to match the Yorick and hopefully get a 2v2. But in this case, once the Randuin gets finished, the Tristana is also not going to do a lot of damage with the amount of armor that they'll have. And surprisingly enough, she is going for a Cutlass and a Blade of the Ruin King to be able to cut down the tanks, I guess, from Sejuani and Yorick. So the build itself is a little different in the top lane. Leona
Right
could be
now,
in trouble right there.
GarXC does try to get out Leona, but the flash comes out and he gets to live again.
Yeah, this I do not see how Northern Spiral Horns might be able to come back from this game. The only thing I think would be for them to catch the Yorick in the split push, have Gangplank and Tristana just jump on the Yorick and then try to kill him off because the more the game goes, Yorick split push is going to become massively difficult and there is an Executioner's calling on the side of the Gangplank, but will that be enough to survive is something we'll have to wait and see because the top lane in the tower now also goes for Northern Spiral Horns and slowly and steadily the entire map has been taken over by Noble Alliance.
I don't think that if Candy Panda decides to engage full on onto Aragorn, that Executioner's Calling isn't really going to help out. Because with that ultimate, Yorick is just really scary, especially right now. But NSH actually might have a good engage here. Promptly takes out Kratos. Hawa doing a lot of free damage right now. But the
Xayah is untouched right there. Xayah is still hitting and hitting and hitting. But that's a
NSH getting a really good engage and actually favorable fight after so long, 4 for 2. That was a really good engage from the Leona. Saw the opportunity and took it.
It all started from a Leona engage, and the whole team followed up massively, including Aragon, who teleported to have numbers advantage. And even though Zaya was fed, it was them, it was Northern Spiral Horns who make an amazing comeback with a beautiful team fight to get 3 people for themselves and get the mid lane tower. And suddenly that 6k goal lead becomes just around 3k, with the fact that the shutdowns now go over to the Zaya, to the Kaiser as well, as to the Tishana, who will be really happy. So suddenly, Nubaland's phase might have to play it safe because the game was looking comfortable, but Northern Spiral Horns are not going down without a fight.
Yeah, I was disappointed by New Balance's positioning right there as well. They were split up 3 and 2, and they still wanted to pick a fight in the mid lane, judging in the mid side of the jungle, judging by their positioning. They're actually going for a Baron right now. I
Yeah, that's a
think
bold
Northern
call,
Spiral
possibly,
Horns, Northern Spiral
Olaf is
Horns,
not
you
there.
know that this is going down.
Yeah, no, they have a pink right there, but Olaf will be there by the time they come. So it's going to be a 50-50. I'm not sure if that's going to be the wisest call to take. They are just hitting it. They are beating Northern Spylons to come red, bro. How do you foresee this match happening? I feel it's going to be a 50-50.
I'm not sure. This can go either way. Leona gives out the ultimate, but NA does take down the Baron without any issues. Actually, because NSH did have proper vision in the Baron play. They knew that they were doing it, but they still were really lethargic in terms of responding to that Baron call from Noob Alliance. I'm not really
I
sure.
completely agree with you. At a certain point, I felt they were there to be able to manage the steal, and suddenly they just let it go, and they decided to back up against it. And I feel like they felt that this fight was not in their favor. The only reason I see would be that they probably felt that they would end up losing the team fight even if they get the Baron. So decide to back off and live to fight another day. But with Baron on the side of no balance on all 5 of their members, with only inhibitor turrets remaining in the game, this is not looking good for Northern Spine and Halls. And can they get another miraculous fight?
And right now, Mojo looking to do a little bit of damage onto the Leona. Might have some follow-up coming in from Hawa. He does, but it's not enough to take down Frankenstein. The heal gets popped out by Leona and Vichy. This is the 4th Infernal Dragon that is spawning. If Noob Alliance get this, they get the Dragon Soul.
The Dragon Soul, the Baron, the game could be in the hands of Noob Alliance, as now they're in a position.
Do get it.
Yeah, they're going to be as strong as ever at this point right now.
Right, yeah, the Infernal Dragon Soul gives you 90 base damage on as an explosion fireball. That procs irregardless of what you do. Auto attacks, damaging spells, anything. And it also scales off of AP and AD. So a lot of damage right now on Noob Alliance's side, and I'm really excited to see how they utilize this.
Just to give you guys some quick maths, every auto by 5 members, that's 450 damage in a team fight just to 1 auto. That's a lot of damage to not a lot of effort to get it right there, and that's just looking like a time for Northern Spiral Horns to perhaps not take a team fight, but how can they survive with this Yorick just split pushing massively, lands E. Look at how much damage just those souls are doing, and Manny is already in half health just through the maiden, but is able to somehow, put siege out the stall or prevent it from happening. But the cannon is still hitting Red Bro, and this could be the inhibitors going down.
The soul-sucking kitty doing really good work against Mane right there.
We know kittens to be cute, but not when they're so devastating right there. Candy Panda.
And there you can also see the impact of the Infernal Dragon Soul. It's helping Northern Noob Alliance phase to actually push up against these towers.
Yeah. They're going for a 1-3-1, and that could be bot lane tower also going down eventually.
Might not favor gangplank, but Frankenstein's there with the support. Does try to go in on the Candy Panda. Mane is in a really tough spot right now with RXD on his tail, but the Olaf tried to engage on Hawa, gets taken down really easily, and Hawa just finishes off the entirety. Not the entirety, and Anoop Aragorn is still there, but 4 members of NSH go down to that last team fight, and this is GG.
Gotta give credit to Candy Panda the whole game. He split pushed, made completely neutralized Aragon on the top lane. Aragon dies.
And the icing on the cake, getting that Aragorn, getting that gangplank. It was just a really good display from Noob Alliance phase to close out the game after that devastating team fight that they lost.
They chose not to end it though. They will look to go back and have one more team fight, it looks like. Probably shying away. I'm not sure why, when they could have simply finished the game at this point, but I guess they just want to play it safe, enjoy the victory. Hawa has 7 kills on himself.
But they're still engaging, even though 2 people in the base, they still want to engage. Olaf can only can do only the throwing of the axes, but Mojo still controlling the pace of the fight, and here comes Candy Panda with the kitten pool. Still, no
Blood
no
sucking
kills.
kittens right there does a lot of damage.
The blood-sucking
Eventually,
kittens gets out the Tristan, and this surely should be GG
this is
for
gonna be
Noob
game.
Alliance phase right
A
now.
28
The
minute
last-ditch ultimate
close.
comes out from Leona, but can they do anything? Zaya is on a rampage right now. Might get the triple kill, doesn't get it, and actually decides to win the game. But that was a really, really exciting match, DC.
Extremely exciting, you know, the kitten from hell on the top side doing a lot of damage, but in general the bot lane of Nubalance making their mark in this particular game, and in general having the right impact, and Nubalance come out with a very good victory. Relatively, it was a one-sided game, right, bro? Because just the way that the bot lane was playing, the top lane was having advantages. Yes, the mid was losing, but everywhere else across the map, Nubalance were winning, and they were able to get the victory out. What are your thoughts on Nubalance as a team? Because this is the first time we've seen them play in a tournament.
I really like Candy Panda and Hawa. Like, I think Noob Alliance's Hawa and Candy Panda, these two laners are so strong and they're so good at predicting and actually gauging their abilities as to how aggressive they can actually go against their laners, and calling in the jungle support from NA Gar XD. Gar XD actually was behind, mind you, during the level 5 level 6 time phase of the game. However, he did come back really strongly on that Sejuani and outclassed the Olaf in every single engage. And
True.
yeah, Noob Alliance would be a really good team to watch in this tournament.
Yep, and you
I'm
can see the
actually betting a
damage
few wins
charts
on them.
as well. 27,000 damage, more than just anyone else. The highest damage on the side of non-Spanlons was 10k from the Gangplank. So clearly a dominating performance by Hawa and Candy Panda, right? So that does it for
Right.
game one, guys. We will be back with game two shortly. So do not go anywhere. Follow this YouTube channel and the Facebook stream for more action. You guys are watching the South Asia Rivals Championship, powered by LG UltraGear, Zotac, and Act 5 Winner. We'll be back with game two in just a few minutes.
Numerous forces aimed at the Earth. And injustice. Let the glorious battle begin. Geared up for victory. LG UltraGear Gaming Monitor.